Dragon Ball Daima is finally here and it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy. So let's jump right into the first episode and talk about all of the ups and downs in this absolutely wild ride. We kick off the episode with a bit of a recap of the end of Z and the Buu Saga with new characters, which we'll get into in a moment, but basically, they're watching the Buu Saga unfold with glorious new animation. And I just want to say, finally, the Buu Saga is getting the justice it deserves after basically being an afterthought in DBZ Kai, and an afterthought even to some portions of the general fanbase. So I'm really happy that we got to see moments in the Buu Saga animated so well with the new art that's beautiful, vibrant, rich, just bursting with personality. So even though we kind of start things off with just like a recap of what we've already seen and what we already know, this gets a huge up for me because finally the Buu Saga is getting some justice. Also, this establishes that the show is taking place right after the Buu Saga. Now let's move on to the introduction of two new characters. We learn that the characters that are watching all of this unfold are Gomah and Degesu. You can think of Gomah as the little one, Degesu as the guy that looks like Supreme Kai. And he's actually basically the Supreme Kai of the Demon Realm, and Gomah becomes the new Supreme King of the Demon Realm after Dabura gets absolutely smoked in Z. These guys are similarly wimps in comparison to Goku and friends, and basically they're in awe on all of their crazy powers. They see Shenron, they immediately want wishes, plus they hint at Namekians being something different than what they thought they were. And I really enjoy and love that these guys actually need to power down the main characters in order to get their ways. I mean, I love the universe-breaking fights, the galaxy-breaking fights, the whatever, but we can only have so many of those in one franchise before it's like, how do you go even further beyond? You know what I mean? So Gomah and Degesu get a huge up for me. I love their personalities. I love how they interact with one another. I love that they're wimpy but conniving, and they're evil, but they don't feel like, a universe-ending evil. It's not like an evil like a Frieza evil. It's closer to like a Pilaf evil, and I think that's a lot of fun. Next up, we're introduced to Dr. Arimasu, who is Degesu's sister and seemingly some kind of witch or scientist or witch scientist. She plays all mysterious and aloof, and she basically wants to continue having her research funded by the new Supreme King, which is Gomah, and he kind of falls victim to her manipulation where she makes him think that Goku and friends could invade the Demon Realm and, with their power, they can't be stopped. So basically, she's the one that kind of kicks off the plot in motion where she's getting Gomah to want to wish for the main characters to become children. She gets enough from me, and no, I don't mean that in the way that you're thinking, you absolute pervert. Or do I? Moving on. We get some lore here, which is about black and white wishes or black and white magic. So it's a classic Toriyama-ism. Apparently you can't make super duper evil wishes, which is why Gomah has to wish for the main characters to become kids instead of just getting rid of them. Plus, would the dragon even have enough power to get rid of someone like Goku? I don't really know. That's always been kind of like a bit of a gray area, right? Because the dragon cannot do more than what its creator can do. So, I don't know. This moment wasn't really an up or down for me. It's just, we're making things up to make the story work, and that's fine. That's really what Dragon Ball has been its entire existence. I don't mind that at all. It's fun in a lot of ways. But we also find out that Gomah wants to wish for an evil third eye that should apparently make him way more powerful. And we also find out that another character was mysteriously lurking in the shadows. Oh. But like I said, this bit doesn't really get an up or a down. It's just kind of there. But let's move on to the introduction of Neva The Namek. He's smelly. He's slow-moving. He's thousands of years old. He created the Demon Realm Dragon Balls, and he likes to brush his teeth, apparently, even though he doesn't take baths or showers. He's an absolute Chad, and you just know by his introduction how it's so low-key and silly that he's going to play some kind of central role in the story at some point, which already kind of happens later on in the episode, which we'll get to. But, no one can actually use the Dragon Balls that he created in the Demon Realm because he also made guards for them that apparently the bad guys can't really do anything about. So I kind of wonder, why did Blood even make those Dragon Balls then if they're not to be used? Is it supposed to be like a test? Is it supposed to be a cultural thing? I have no clue what he's doing. In any case, I still love me a geezer Namekian that's all silly until he gets serious. So Neva for me gets a huge up. Next up, we got a big ass fish with smaller fish inside, I guess, and they seem to control the entrance and exit out of the demon realm. He trolls Gomah a little bit, makes him like quiver in his boots, and because of that, this fish gets an absolute up from me. I love that stuff. And when we're inside, we learned that Dr. Arimasu has already started moving towards Earth, which is hella intriguing. We now cut to Earth and we see that Trunks is having his 9th birthday party, and Krillin kind of tells him he's being short, for his age, but then Trunks roasts Krillin for being short. Goku inadvertently roasts Vegeta for being short, and we learn something absolutely hilarious and classic when it comes to Dragon Ball. We learned that Kibito and the Supreme Kai Shin unfused thanks to Buu swallowing them, because apparently it worked for Vegito, right? So, I don't know. This is just like a classic Toriyama Dragon Ball-ism where, again, we're just making stuff up to make all this story work. And if the whole series wasn't like this from the get-go, maybe it would have been a problem, but it's just part of the series' charm, I think. And I really enjoy silly and goofy things like that. So Trunks' birthday party gets a big up from me, but also look at Big Belly Goku. I mean, just look at Big Belly Goku. Look at him. Look at the mad lad. Look at him. That gets an absolute up from me. I want to be Big Belly Goku. Moving on now, of course, we got to have some Goku and Vegeta sparring, and it's such a tease because this fight looks awesome. It moves well, it animates well, it's well framed, well directed. Maybe some of the lighting is strangely realistic for a cartoon, basically an anime, but that's just a nitpick. It's such a tease because we only get this like small sparring session, but it makes you want it so much more. Like, you want to see Dragon Ball Super like this. You want to see them almost remake Dragon Ball Z animation with this. Like, my God, it looks so great. However, actually, before I go to the however, the sparring overall gets a up for me. But however, the beam clash gets a huge down for me. I don't know what it is about modern Dragon Ball that can't figure out beam clashes. It's just so lifeless, robotic, adding in some screen shake and stuff. It doesn't really do it justice. It's better than a lot of super beams and stuff like that, but I don't know. A beam clash should be something kind of epic, right? Like, not all of them need to break dimensions and shatter reality or whatever the case may be, but they need to have a little bit more oomph, right? Don't you agree? No? Yes? No? Let me know in the comments. Moving on, though, we go to the lookout now, and Dende and Popo aren't attending the party because, hey, anything might happen. And as soon as they say that, of course, something happens. Gomah and Degesu arrive, and Neva's there as well, and he drops a truth bomb on us. Namekians come from the demon realm originally. This is almost a retcon of a retcon, because if you remember from OG Dragon Ball, King Piccolo was a demon, Piccolo Jr. was thought to be a demon as well. Then Namekians were revealed to be aliens later on, and now they're demons and aliens, basically. Hell yeah. So this is more classic Dragon Ball-ism where we're just making stuff up on the fly, throwing stuff at a wall, seeing what sticks, making the story work. But I love it. It's goofy, it's fun, and I love that it ties into OG Dragon Ball like that. We also have Neva here using the powers to gather Shenron and unfreeze the Dragon Balls because, of course. And yeah, the lookout stuff just gets a big up for me. And then Shenron initially gets a big up for me. So Sassy Shenron here makes Gomah be very specific with his wish about how old the kids should be. Or the main characters should be around first grade age, and their kids becoming babies, that kind of thing. So I love it because I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I kind of interpreted it as, wow, why was that so hard to say? I interpreted it as Shenron being a little bit like, this is sus. I'm supposed to grant you wishes, but you're being a sus guy. So that gets an up for me. I love it when Shenron shows a bit of personality. What gets it down for me, though, 3D CG Shenron. He looks so stiff and awkward, and like the frame rate on the polygonal stuff is always weird. So I don't know. It just didn't look right to me. Plus, his skin had like a weird 80s anime texture to it, which could be awesome, but the way that it was animating in conjunction with the polygonal aspect, I don't know. I feel like Shenron could have been done better. They maybe did him a little bit dirty. But overall, I'm really excited for Dragon Ball Daima and where it's going. This episode has 11 ups and 2 downs, and the downs are pretty inconsequential. Now, you could argue that there's way too much exposition in this episode, but at the end of the day, it feels like Dragon Ball for Dragon Ball fans. And you know what? There's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes of Dragon Ball. So one, exposition heavy episode is fine. In terms of like How does that play for new viewers? I don't know, probably not great, but let's be real, right? This is the like 4th or 5th series, so it's really how many new viewers is it really gonna pull in at this point? I don't know, maybe lots, maybe I'm wrong about that, but in any case, it feels like Dragon Ball for Dragon Ball fans, which is really nice for us. And I really want to know what you guys think now. So what were some of the highlights and lowlights for this episode for you? And are you excited about the show and where it's heading? Are you excited about how it's rumored to be potentially about 20 episodes, so not like a long show, a bit of a shorter one? Let me know in the comments below what you think about Dragon Ball Daima, but what you think about this episode, what you think about anything really related to this series. I want to see your comments. Can't wait to read them. Can't wait to respond to them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.